Chat. Chat. How are we doing? We are live.
For once, the Xbox hype machine was correct.
Why don't you elaborate what you mean by that?
I mean, actually, no, it wasn't correct. They underpromised and over-delivered. We were told it was going to be a bloodbath. This was like a blood monsoon, a blood tsunami, if you would.
It
Because
was
we've seen the bloodbath layoffs before. This was it's and it was this. Remember, this is only part one. They
yeah,
still have part two.
yeah, I have the numbers. This is I mean 1600 in your opening wave is pretty big.
Yeah.
1250 promised in the next 11 months is
Yeah. Well, yeah. So like after this was all said and done, I messaged you. I was like, so what about Blizzard and Activision?
it's like don't worry, they're on their
Yeah.
usual rotation of firing 1,000 people a year.
They probably they're probably like, man, we need to focus on the better performing studios first.
Well, so there was a piece about how Bethesda devs are worried about the future of Test 6. Like, ooh, because like 50 developers roundabouts got laid off at Bethesda, and they're like, ooh, this could affect Test 6. I'm like, this is a company that is so insulated from the concept of consequences that
Yeah.
the notion of a few people getting fired is considered an existential threat when like Blizzard cuts 1,000 people a year.
Yeah.
Like, then that's just how they do business.
Yeah.
But that does kind of segue nicely, and I want to lay this out here with a bit of storytelling. Okay, everybody remember Bobby Kotick? Bobby Kotick was a real prick. You know what he would do? Activision Blizzard would have a record profit year. This is, 2017, 2018, that era in gaming. Bobby Kotick would have this record year, and then 2,000 people would lose their job, like, the next week. When people think about game company greed, it's always in the context of that. It's always the assumption that there's a Bobby Kotick at the top who's just like, I don't care if this person makes me $1 million a quarter. They're $20,000 in payroll that we can save by letting them go. Everybody assumes it's always that. What happened at Microsoft is so much dumber. And what's brilliant about what's happening, and we gotta show our appreciation to Asha Sharma, the new CEO, okay? Because that memo is like, we've been dealing with Phil Spencer for so long that the concept of putting out that memo where like it's a tactical move that like has strategic value, it's foreign. It's not something that we're used to, and it's like, oh yeah, CEOs can be competent. What she did was she said, this is not a corporate greed issue where Microsoft and the Xbox division are just absconding with all this money, and we're laying them off out of greed. And the way that she did that, and it was the most telling quote of the memo that she put out. Let me pull up the quotes here. The way that she said that is these two quotes right here. A lot of people have focused on the 14 layers of management. That's bad, right? The real damning part for me was, in a typical year, we lost 64 cents for every dollar we invested. That's Asha Sharma saying, we are putting money into this and we're not getting it back. So it's not even an issue of they were greedy and they're taking the money from the game developers. She's putting the ball back into the game developers' court and saying, these fuckers are losing us money. And this isn't welfare, right? We're not subsidizing the arts. This isn't a college that has an art department. This is a company. A company that's saying, like, if your budget was $100 million, the profit that you're sending back up the ladder is 36 million?
Yeah.
Guys, it's supposed to be more than 100 million. And then, you know, the 14 layers of management, that's something that we've talked about a lot before, just the, you know, business incompetence of it all. But yeah, the brilliance of that move is just get the ball out of the court where you're not saying, it's not Microsoft. It's Phil Spencer. It's his incompetence. And it's the subsidiaries. Yeah. And that's why the layoffs are necessary, because there's all this inefficiency, there's all this chaff, there's all these managers that aren't actually meaningfully adding to the process of making games. Now,
well, I mean, we've been saying with Starfield, it's like they were like what, triple, quadruple the size from what they were during Skyrim, and it's like, okay, then why is there like not even a quarter of the dungeons? Like, yeah. Why is like the quest content is basically the same?
Where is all of that labor going?
Yeah. How can a team that's like 4 to 5 times the size, not even counting all of the support studios that they had as well, there was like over 2,000 people that worked on that game. Where did all of that labor go? For 5 years as compared to like 3 years for Skyrim?
Taking longer to make a game that's the same size as Skyrim.
That's the part that's just the bewildering part, really.
Yeah, and to be clear, we're not Microsoft. We're not going to be Xbox fans out of this. I might be an Asha Sharma fan, but I don't know that she's going to be there in a year, because I don't think that it's intended for her to be there long term. I think that their plan was they're going to take one of the least popular people they can, the AI person, right? Oh, the headlines write themselves there. The AI person's taking over Xbox. Ooh. She's Indian. Ooh, that's even scarier, right? And you put her in charge. And she does the purge, basically. And gets all of these fucking studios to do what they should have been doing all along, which is making money. You know, it's nice to... John Carmack had a great quote about this.
Yes.
It's not enough for a game to be beloved. It does still have to make money at the end of the day. A lot of these people kind of forgot that the philosophical economic system that supports them, this whole capitalist regime, the only way that a game development studio can actually exist is fundamentally predicated on you have to make money.
Mm-hmm.
You have to release games that are profitable, and if you don't, well, your friends get fired. This is the good ending. I was saying this to somebody earlier. It's crazy to think that 3,200 people losing their jobs is the good ending, because the bad ending is Xbox just closes.
Yeah.
Microsoft says we're not paying for this shit anymore and closes Xbox entirely. And all the subsidiaries go. They auction off all of the IPs. And then that's it. It's lights off. And it's like, that could have happened. That absolutely could have happened. What you're seeing is the graceful ending where they managed to negotiate stopping a doomsday scenario.
I mean, I don't think none of the studios have been shut down after, you know. I mean, the ones that did get shut down, that was when fucking Phil Spencer was still in charge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tango Gameworks and all that stuff. So
that's the weird part I still can't piece together, is like Phil Spencer would do stuff like he would cut chaff, but it always seemed very random, and there was always gaslighting to it. That's why the thumbnail has the gaslighting metaphor, because the motherfucker was just a liar.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why I celebrate him being gone, and that's why this is so vindicating, because it's just the delusion. We were pointing out for years, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Yeah, it turns out it didn't make sense. You have Asha Sharma saying it in black and white. We were
not only did it
losing insane amounts of money.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even like, oh, we were losing like a little bit. No, they were hemorrhaging money. That's not even taking into account the studio buyouts and all the whole spending spree that fucking Phil Spencer went on and stuff. Like I was saying, that guy probably cost Microsoft hundreds of billions of dollars of just loss.
Do you think Xbox would be better off if Activision Blizzard deal didn't go through? Oh yeah, no, they got fucking fleeced.
Oh yeah.
Bobby Kotick walked away with a bag that he shouldn't have, because he sold that company for $69 billion. And it's like, I remember when that was going down, their Xbox people, the shills online, were like, Microsoft's got this war chest. They've got these billions of dollars. They're just going to swallow up the entire industry. I'm trying to think. I remember, I think when it was like Baldur's Gate or something, when that came out, the accounts were like, why don't they buy Larian? You know, it was like every time there would be a competitor to a Microsoft product, people would just float the idea they should just buy the studio. Well, yeah, that kind of posting probably hit the CEO of Microsoft's office, and he went, wait a second, they're doing what? Yeah, so it turns out it was all a paper tiger.
Yeah.
That economic power projection was never there. And it was dumb because they didn't win. Right? The whole play, we're going to take down Sony. They didn't win. The only reason that it's a good ending that Xbox is still around is that they can stand off against Sony.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe now things might get better with Xbox. I don't know. The problem is that the developers have gotten so used to making games that people didn't even want to own.
Yeah.
Like Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2 and
no, it's like
Fallout 76.
when I was ranting, I ranted about game developers being complacent with it, and this is kind of the fine point. The game developers said, we have an infinite money train. Let's just fund projects that would never be funded otherwise. And that's how you get Avowed. That's how you get Outer Worlds 2. That's how you get Starfield. Yeah. You know, all of these things that happened only happened because there was a guy who was dumb who would write you a blank check to, you know, the metaphor I think about is, you ever have a boss, you ever have a switch up in bosses, you get a new manager, and he's like, guys, I'm going to be a little hands-off, let you do your thing, let you make the changes to your workflow that you feel you need to improve productivity, and you're like, cool, I'm going to take advantage of this. And then you look over to your left and you see your coworker who's doing nothing, he's just playing on his phone for 8 hours now.
Yeah.
The team productivity tanks, and a week later you're having a meeting and the boss is like, well, I wanted to have a hands-off approach, but you guys had to ruin it. And now he switches over to being a tyrannical dickhead. I feel like that's a pretty universal situation, at least for the employed people, right? Imagine if that farcical period went on for like 10 years. Just 10 years of like looking over to your coworker and seeing them playing on their phone and being like, there is going to be a day where there's going to be a reckoning, because it's just a matter of economic reality. You know, you can't have your team do nothing and accomplish less for free. I think the problem with American society, is that people have gotten way too fucking comfortable spending other people's money.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, it sucks that people are losing their jobs, but it's like, it was completely preventable. You know who hasn't lost their jobs? Mojang. And it's not, oh, they're in Sweden and there's all these why would they fire people from Mojang? They're profitable.
Yeah, they're apparently like propping up a whole bunch of the studios there and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, Mojang is literally like, that's like the only deal that they made that like made them money.
Yeah.
So it's just satisfying. Because we've been dealing with this nonsense since like 2023 when we started like really looking into Starfield's marketing. That's when we really got exposed to the gaslighting and the stupidity. Because at the same time, you had the FCC trial with the Activision Blizzard Microsoft merger.
Yep.
Wasn't Doom profitable? Did you know there's a new Doom game out? Because apparently a lot of people don't.
Which Doom game? The expansion to Dark Ages?
Yeah, the expansion to Doom Eternal Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Hitting the usual Bethesda subsidiary Steam player count, 30,000 peak concurrent.
Yeah. Well, listen. Most of those players were on Xbox, playing it on Game Pass.
Yeah, they're all playing it on Game Pass. Day one on Game Pass, which is they're taking Call of Duty off. Asha Sharma is doing a lot of things where like we would say on stream like this doesn't make sense. Why are they doing this? And she's like actually going through with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird.
I'm curious. I'm really curious who she's been talking to and like who.
I feel like
who has court with her.
She was just she sat there and listened, and came up with a strategy and was like, "Id Software's not making us money. Okay." They lost 90 people, which was supposedly like half their studio, which that sucks. But it was always. It's more of an aberration that Doom 2016 was as successful as it was because it was in a bad place before that.
Yeah.
So it's more they just had one.
They were on death's door when that game. When that game came out.
100%.
And then Rage 2. They released Rage 2 after 2016. Does anybody remember Rage 2? Show of hands, chat.
Chat, do you remember Rage 2? I guess I could be a VTuber right now. That was the whole point of being over on the PC.
Doom Eternal, which was probably the game that killed the franchise.
Look, I'll say it. I know Doom fans don't like to hear it, but Mick Gordon carried.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it sucks, but...
Well, it's also like... They were making the same game for like a decade now.
No. The mechanics are just different enough that...
Yeah.
Really what it is...
It's like Call of Duty fucking...
No, here... Microsoft inherited a bad management situation from when ZeniMax was running id Software. And after they lost their original bad managers, nobody at id Software was like, we need to reform and make a true sequel to Doom 2016. And that's why you guys lost your jobs, is you went in this weird direction with Dark Ages when you should have been making a game that was appealing to the new fan base that you had found with Doom 2016. And not just the sycophants who dick-sucked Doom Eternal.
Well, let's be honest too. Doom is not a game that's going to be producing like a lot of recurring revenue post-release.
Yeah. But also at the same time, they didn't have like a bloated studio. It was like 200 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's not organizational wise. Oh, this is what I was thinking. I wonder where Machine Games is at right now.
Apparently they're fine.
Which is weird
really
because there's this game you didn't hear of called Indiana Jones
heard
that had an abysmal player count.
Yeah.
So, I'm wondering where that is at.
There's probably not going to be another Indiana Jones game. I heard that.
I mean,
I think they're working on a new Wolfenstein. I think that's...
which, like, that's what you do.
Yeah. Is it time?
Time? Yeah, it's time. Chad, do you want to see my new model? I've had this model for like 3 months and I haven't used it yet. No, what did you want to go over? What do you want to do first, Bethesda or Obsidian?
Let's do Obsidian.
So they got hit 25%. These are the numbers that I have. 25%, about 60 to 70 employees. Which, you know, not as crazy as id. Definitely not as crazy as ZeniMax Online. Oof. But they canceled Avowed 2, which I'm 95% I read a headline that Avowed 2 was canceled like 3 months ago. I don't know what this they just canceled Avowed 2 thing is. I'm pretty sure they canceled it after Outer Worlds 2 failed.
So they kind of canceled it. They said they're going to keep like working on the concept to try and repitch it at a later time, but for now, like all of their plans for what Avowed 2 is going to be just like went out the window. Which, you know, good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated thing. Avowed was a better game than the Outer Worlds 2. It's unfortunate that Asha Sharma, you know, she doesn't have the time machine where she can fix the past and just like can't go back in time, cancel the Outer Worlds 2, put all of those resources into Avowed and see if you can make that game like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. So, yeah.
They're a Fallout studio now. That's another one of those things where it's just like people always said like this is what they should do.
It's what they should be doing.
It's not.
Well, oh yeah, no. Well, that's the thing is like, and I said in my Outer Worlds 2 video, this is the bad ending for for Obsidian because they cannot make another Fallout New Vegas. There's no way.
Our favorite locale was crashing out over
pretty
people
sure
saying this.
They're aware of that too, and that's why they haven't been petitioning to do it.
Yeah.
Apparently they were working on a Fallout project, and then Bethesda came in and stopped it. I'm gonna need to see the receipts on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see the sources on that.
Well, no, this is according to Chris Avalon. But I need his receipts. I need to know like when this was this right after Fallout New Vegas?
I trust him to at least be relatively telling the truth.
So apparently it went they were working on this. Yeah, it had to have been after a little bit after Fallout New Vegas. Because yeah, they were working on the project, and then Bethesda was like, yeah, we're not gonna pick this up. So then they had to reconfigure it into a new project, which I'm guessing is the Outer Worlds.
How is Avalon not drowned in cash right now to write for them? It's that complicated.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So Jsaw's the head of this project, which you guys listen. I know there's people that don't like Jsaw. He did make Pentiment. He's competent. The one silver lining of this is that Obsidian was always a company that succeeded when they were under a lot of pressure. And they are under an existential amount of pressure right now because it's do or die here. There's no fucking around. There's no... Yeah, the money train's over. You guys got to make a Fallout game. You got to put up, or you're going to die. And you're probably going to die anyways, because that's how these things go. And then a bunch of these people are probably going to form their own company in 5 years. But, you know... It's one of those things where it's like,
it's just going to be over-under on this game ever releasing?
I think there's enough stake. There's enough stake to make it happen. People are like, it's going to be the Outer Worlds 2. It's going to be Fallout but woke. And I'm like, the problem is that the Avowed and the Outer Worlds 2 were comfort projects. They were only possible because of the infinite money train. I think Obsidian is more pliable to snap back into shape and make a product that people want to play than people give them credit for. I'm not necessarily holding out hope or saying this is my prediction of what will happen. I'm just saying that Obsidian was always a company that... They were a whiplash company, you know? They need to be getting yelled at.
I agree, but I also think that they're not going to even be able to come close to what Fallout New Vegas was. And that's the problem. It's like, not only do they have to match Fallout New Vegas, they have to beat it. They have to top it.
Yeah. The tricky part, too, is that you can't purposefully imitate a Fallout New Vegas. And also, Fallout New Vegas is super overrated, and people don't want to hear that. Because people don't realize that that game blows chunks, and the only reasons it's notable is that everybody after it just repeatedly shit their pants. Fallout New Vegas shouldn't be the watermark of what makes an amazing role-playing game. It is only that way because of the miracle of circumstance.
Yeah.
It should have been an evolutionary stepping stone. And instead it ended up being damn near the peak. Which again, it's just an indictment of the industry as a whole. So the art director of Avowed is gone. That oh boy. Listen. People accuse me of being a fence sitter. I've got no problem. That guy was problematic, as the kids say. No, he was a racist piece of shit. Like, you know, people make fun of the people that are like really into pointing out like white replacement theory. But here's a guy who's like going, white replacement theory is real and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Which is weirder. I have more respect for people who are like just saying it's real and it's a bad thing. If you're saying it's a good thing, then like you're co-signing genocide. And it's like there's so many layers of weirdness to this that like you just can't employ this guy. Like this guy can't be associated with your company. Unfortunately, they also got rid of the art director on Outer Worlds too. Which is only unfortunate because of a point that I've never gotten to make in like a video, which is that, you know, if the art director of Outer Worlds 2 was the art director for Avowed, Avowed would probably be like a really good, like a much better game. So yeah, Obsidian.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, right, Grounded 2. Turns out they didn't make it.
Yeah.
that was Eidos
Montreal.
Yeah. So the one successful game out of the year of Obsidian wasn't made by Obsidian.
The fucking year of Obsidian.
And that's why that's why I made the Outer Worlds 2 video. I said it when I was making the video. I would not have cared nearly as much if they weren't so just fucking up their own ass about how great they are, how we're the people who made Fallout New Vegas, blah, blah, blah. And so to see my prediction coming true that the year of Obsidian is going to be followed up by the year of Obsidian layoffs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just I can't help but be just a little bit excited right now.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who subjected themselves to the Outer Worlds 2 should feel vindicated that there is a material consequence for unleashing that onto the world.
Yeah.
And again, it's the good ending because it's not.
They are still working on the expansions though. The expansions that I'm owed.
I was talking to somebody like that, and it's like, how many did enough people buy the premium edition of Outer Worlds 2 that it still makes sense to make that? Or could you just cut a check to everybody who bought the premium edition?
You could absolutely
just refund them like $20 each, and that's probably cheaper than making that expansion that nobody wants. Is a waste of time to make. The only reason, it's another Shattered Space situation where it's like we're under a fiduciary obligation to complete this because we promised it.
Yeah. Do you think they're gonna start like not doing that now? Like surely
they would learn.
Yeah. Like
I mean,
I get
I
get the temptation to charge people $100 for, you know.
But that's the only way they can justify it. Is the whole gambit is we'll charge them money for an expansion that they probably won't play. Like they probably won't come back and play it, so like we're getting money for nothing. That's the whole logic.
But they still have to make it. They still have to make it. They still have to deliver it. So it would be better if they were just like, we're gonna have an in-game, you know, like creations or something. Here's $20. Here's like 20 Bethesda bucks. Because then you really are going to be getting money for nothing. Because it's just like, yeah, I mean, you know, crap out a couple of creations and that's it.
So, ZeniMax Online.
Yeah.
213 cuts. The ESO team was basically gutted. So, ESO's on the way out.
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to start playing that, right?
I did just say that don't take this as a sign that I'm going to be terribly invested in
it. Yeah.
It's a weird thing where it's like...
I'm not going to shut it down anytime soon.
No, it would be funny if like they shut it down next year before TES 6 comes out. And so like... It's this foundational pillar of TES 6 lore that nobody can play. That would be the best outcome.
Yeah, so the crash outs that I was seeing from the ESO team, those were particularly interesting. I think my favorite quote was, I can't recall who it was who said this, but they said that the ESO team were basically bankrolling all like a ton of other projects from other studios and stuff. And I really have to question that. Maybe at launch?
Yeah.
But like so the number that I saw going around for the total revenue that ESO generated was $2 billion, which sounds like a lot. But you have to remember that's over the course of, what, 10 years the game's been out? Longer? Right. And also, it's an MMO, so there's constant recurring costs and stuff that do not go away. So, like, cool, $2 billion, but, like, what was your outflow on that? 1 billion? Probably around there.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I'd have to see the numbers. The ESO people always felt salty. And I think it was because like they were close to getting flowers, but not quite there.
Yeah.
What is this dollar store Saitama model? Someone remembered the original Patrician VTuber model. So this is... All guy anime models look the same, and if they don't have hair, they're even more like homogenous, so it just turns into Saitama. And then finally, Bethesda Game Studios. I think the smallest cut, about 50 people. Conveniently, a lot of them unionized, which, in fairness, as I understand, the Bethesda union was wall-to-wall. So
Yeah.
if you fire a bunch of people from Bethesda, then yeah, it's going to be a majority union because that's who you have to fire.
Well, my question is, like, if they even had a contract ratified, because that usually takes.
Because they said that they were able to negotiate people's like severance packages and stuff.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have a contract that was ratified. That would have had to, because the contract would have, if not outright stipulated people cannot be laid off, then outlined a very specific like order of operations of like how this has to go down and everything like that. And considering all the messaging from Bethesda, like people who were laid off, sounds like a lot of them were caught off guard by like who was getting laid off and stuff. Leads me to think that there wasn't a process like that. I'm just curious how mature this union is, and like how effective they really would be. Because now they're saying, oh, we're gonna have a protest after like next week for all the people who were laid off. But it's like, yeah, but didn't you just negotiate those people's layoffs? So like, what's going on here?
Yeah, when we talk about who got laid off, I think it's not a coincidence. I'm going to imagine it's sometimes with like when you get rid of a senior employee, like somebody who's been there since Morrowinds, that person's getting paid a lot of money. If they've been getting raises this entire time and what have you, that person's getting paid a lot of money. It might be a situation where it's like that person, you know, decided, hey, maybe it is time to volunteer to retire, because then like four or five people could newer people could keep their jobs.
Exactly.
That's the type of negotiation that could have gone down. Because again, it's not a we need to reduce our head count thing. It's a we need to reduce payroll thing.
Yeah. So you can fire like, 300 entry-level employees, or you can fire, 30 veterans and like department leads and stuff like that.
I wouldn't hold out hope. So up until now, the last couple of years, Bethesda's been bleeding talent. A lot of like really key people.
I made the joke after this that like at this point they've lost so many like veterans and stuff that they could all just get together and make Bethesda again. Like,
yeah, so like they lost a few important people before Starfield came out. After Starfield came out, they started losing more important people, and now it's just like
yeah, who's left?
Bethesda just fired one of their oldest writers. Not a good look. They got rid of Emil?
Oh my god.
We're not sure that happened. We don't have confirmation it didn't happen, but, you know.
I doubt it. Somebody has to lead the Fallout development side.
So, well, I know, right? That would be a funny outcome. You get like, hey, Emil, you got to go to Obsidian. You're moving to Irvine.
Oh,
that would be the funny way to do it.
That would be cruel.
But if I was a Bethesda dev and like, you know, a bunch of my coworkers lost their jobs, but that guy's still around, you know. I've never officially said that Emil should be fired, but if I had to fire somebody at Bethesda, that's a different question than this guy needs to be fired apropos of nothing.
Well, I do wonder what his reputation's like at the studio and stuff. Who knows? Maybe everybody really loves him, and they.
Yeah, he could be a really personal guy. Did you know his sister died? This is really pertinent information, Chad. Never Knows Best has informed us that his sister died. This makes him personable. What a piece of shit. Never Knows Best, specifically. So yeah, they lost Christiana Meister and Istvan Pili, which are a couple pretty crazy losses.
Yeah.
Christiana Meister is the career character artist, and it's just wild to think like maybe it's a situation where it's like they've got the character art for Test 6 down, and she's like, okay, I'm not, I wasn't gonna make it to Fallout 5 or whatever, anyways.
Yeah, that could be it. That could have also been the situation. And also, like, people of their pedigree, I think they can manage to find work again pretty quickly.
Yeah, if they wanted to. I think Christiana Meister, at least back in the day, ran like a horse sanctuary, so...
Oh, yeah.
She might just...
Well,
this might be it for her as a developer.
Well, I think East Van Peely said he might be leaving games entirely.
Yeah, I've read that. I think East Van Peely's done.
Yeah, so it's like these people might have just been already like 1 foot out the door, and now they're like, oh, cool, I get to take like an 8-month, 12-month severance package.
And it keeps a lot of the junior members employed who,
Yeah, exactly. And it's like,
but
like I said, those two, like they have credibility. They could absolutely pick up work somewhere else. Maybe they'll go and just work part-time and shit. Who knows,
There's a very funny thing. There's a bunch of anti-woke people who hate Christiana Meister. They have no clue who she is or what contribution she's made to the game, but they vehemently hate her because there was a Twitter post that showed this image. You see, Bethesda is woke and gay because of these 3 senior Bethesda devs that had been there the entire time.
Yeah.
But now they have the stylings of upper middle class white people in Maryland.
Yeah, like Megan Sawyer, she was the one who did
Shaden Hall.
Skin Grad. Shaden Hall, right.
Yeah, and Angela Browder's been there forever too. So it's like, but anti-woke people hate them because surface level,
Yeah.
Their appearance is white liberal women. Because they're upper middle class white women from Maryland.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you know this, Maryland's a pretty liberal place. And so it's just like, it's one of those things where it annoys me with the anti-woke stuff, where they're all very surface level in the way that they approach their observations of the world.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, do a little research, find out some stuff about these people. No, listen, Tim Kaine is gay. That means that Fallout that was something I responded to today, was people being upset that like Tim Kaine is gay, because we've wrapped all the way around. So someone wrote this fan fiction about like how he was like made this video where he revised the meaning of Fallout 1 to be about like coming out as a gay man. And it's just like, this is as bad as like the social justice stuff. Because it's a complete hallucination. The video that like they're worked up about is just about his experience of being a gay game developer. Like the title of the video is what that video is about. The problem with this is that I always end up being the big titty Dunmer girl. It's natural evolution. You guys pick the best model and then you stop donating.
People need to donate for the WoW ones. How many of those do you have?
I have 4 WoW models. I'll show them off and then I'll go back to Dunmer's. So the new ones, we got this character that I ended up not playing so much, undead female, night elf female, of course, the succubus, which she's very crusty. She's a very old model.
You need a Sylvanas.
Well, so I was going for like, you got to have a blood elf derived model, and Sylvanas and Alexstrasza are both both fit that bill. Start a small titty Dunmer girl and make them grow with donos. There's no way there hasn't been a VTuber that didn't do like a subathon where each donation made the tit size bigger. Where's the Kaius Casades model? Half of them are Kaius Casades models. I just pick a random one. Did Bethesda really make a PowerPoint on what New Vegas did wrong? According to Chris Avallone, yes. I mean, do we know? I would love to see the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it like ZeniMax that did the presentation?
Yeah, so again, that's always the tricky thing is like, there were Bethesda people who worked on Fallout New Vegas, but it was like producers from ZeniMax. So it's always that tricky thing. Where it could have just it could have been P. Hines. You know, P. Hines is considered Bethesda.
Yeah.
They made a whiteboard of what went wrong. It was a PowerPoint presentation of everything they did wrong. Which again is very funny in retrospect. All right, here we go. The waifu wars. We got them going. Pete with his shotgun. Yeah, someone made an image in that vein. The Asha Sharma pointing the gun at Todd Howard.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be the thumbnail for this.
It's thumbnail worthy for sure. I mean, just letting Todd know, hey, you got to actually make a game.
You gotta make a game, and you also have to stop with the whole like we're not going to say anything about it anymore.
That has to stop.
My prediction is VGAs this year. They show it.
Yeah,
they show maybe an actual gameplay trailer.
If Asha is doing everything like I said, she didn't do, you know, the headline Test 6 is going to use Unreal Engine because it's in development. But you know, if it was in a situation where she could make that order, I think she would, just because like that's something that people have been saying needs to happen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe now, because everybody's kind of turned against Unreal Engine. Bethesda needs to use Godot.
Blades is a weird experiment with using Unity. It is a situation where I would personally, at this point, Asha, if you're listening, I know you're a big fan. You want my number sometime. We are at a point in the industry where using Unreal is a bad idea. And so, like, if I'm approving new projects and it's like, we're going to use Unreal Engine, I'm like, bro, our consumers don't have the VRAM for this.
Yeah.
How much to use the Alex Straza Heroes of the Storm model instead of the WoW one? There's no amount you can donate because I don't have that model. We figured out the workflow for making World of Warcraft models, since that's a different game. So, not impossible, but you know. I've seen so many people posting the Bethesda layoffs and going, this is horrible, and I just can't help but think this is a good thing. The 20-year Bethesda veterans are in large part of the problem. Yeah, I mean, it's complicated. I like to be optimistic. Like, so it's like, you know, Christiana Meister, I don't see a reason to dislike her for her, you know, the character models have never dipped below fine. Like, Starfield is probably the low point since like Fallout 3, and that's still like, it's serviceable. It fills the function. But
yeah, I don't think she was the one responsible for the issues of Starfield.
Old Knight made a video about Emil demanding you make an apology all these years later. It's really funny to think that I should have to apologize when I'm not the one who dug up his fucking sister and used it as a weapon. Caesar model, not Lego model. I'm still salty about that. Okay, I've had beef with a few people over the years, but for the most part, I don't care. That's the one thing that, like, I'll go to the grave pissed off at Never Knows Best about. He should be the one who has to fucking apologize. Just because, like, that was a really shitty thing to do. Do you think it's a possibility Asha Sharma came up, or used AI to come up with a list of who to fire and who not to? No.
Nah.
Just because, just looking at, like, the people who are losing their jobs, it's like...
I don't think at best, like, maybe she laid off some people in corporate Xbox, but for the most part, like, the way you handle this is you go to the studio's HR department to be like, listen, we need to reduce headcount, or we need to reduce payroll. Leave it up to you guys to figure out who, but this is the number you guys got to hit. And that's it. Because she's not going to be able to know who's the dead weight. She's not going to be able to sit there and, like, you know, piece together 3,000 people to lay off within all of these studios after only getting the job, you know, like 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's going to be a top-down edict. All she's doing is she's figuring out what payroll amount to reduce per company, and then, like, which companies they're just going to get rid of. To clarify the sister thing, in the Never Knows Best video, this is buried like an hour and 50 minutes in. There's a segment where he, like, starts talking about Emil as a person, and he was like stalking his Facebook page, and he starts playing sad violin music and going, "Oh, but did you know that Emil's sister passed away?" And it's just like, I have a deep distaste for, like, weaponizing people's dead relatives. So the funny thing is, I didn't know that happened until I saw it when we were doing the EFAP stream, because of how deep into the video it was. And I was caught completely off guard with that. So if you want my first time reaction to that happening, go watch the EFAP stream.
I should rewatch that sometime. That was a really good stream.
Yeah.
I remember listening to it while I was playing Enshrouded.
That was that's considered like an all-timer EFAP stream too.
Oh really?
Yeah, just because it's so the cuck thing is just so fucking funny. It's the perfect punchline to, you know, responding to that video for 8 hours. Yes, Enshrouded is good.
1.0 October. I think it's like October 13th.
50 Polish Swati. Yeah, you could buy a village for that. Rags recently asked me, he reminded me that I can always visit him. So I need to go back on EFAPs at some point. But yeah, East Van Peely. They got rid of the 10% gray screen opacity filter guy.
Yeah. It would be interesting. It would be funny if TES 6 does not have any sort of, like, overt constant color grading.
I know, it's weird because it's hard for me to, like, I'm not as sad about Peely leaving, because, you know, he's the art guy for Fallout 3, he's the art guy for Starfield. I'm just like, you know,
yeah,
he's got some misses under his belt.
Yeah.
Glad to know you ribbing EFAP wasn't too genuine. Well, that thing was just like, I have some opinions, and they're just opinions on how they can make their show better. They don't, but they might like the chaos of it, and so it's like, that can be their thing. I've got no problem with it. It's just, you know. Any girls keeping it hairy still? chat.
What?
So I really don't want to transition it after the Harry sentence to this next part because it's going to sound racist. But did you know that Microsoft had 2,200 H-1B visas approved this year?
Really?
So that is a thing that's making the rounds in the conservative news space is that Microsoft is like getting rid of a bunch of employees and then they're just going to replace them with like Indians. Which I don't necessarily think is true, but I do see the correlation. I do see how they came to that conclusion.
Now, were these new or were these just renewed?
All I saw was approved. That was the word that I saw.
Okay. Because it could be like most of those were just renewals and stuff, in which case it's like, yeah, that's... I imagine an organization...
Well, listen, no spoilers, because yes, I am going to mention the U.S. Federal... So when I read this headline, I thought it was something different entirely. U.S. Federal Reserve taps Xbox CEO, who just laid off 3,200 employees to... And I was like, oh, is she in trouble? And it's like, no, she's leading a task force on employment. Which is like kind of weird. It feeds into the she's probably not going to be at Xbox long thing.
Yeah.
If she's going to be doing that too. Or it's just like
after I saw that, I was like, oh, she's playing a different game.
Yeah. It sounds like she's just like
ambitions.
Well, it sounds like she's just like an anti-HR person. So it's like, you know,
yeah.
You have HR that's all about hiring people and organizational inefficiency and all that bullshit. And then you have Asha Sharma who like apparently knows how to do this stuff. They're going to tackle gamer inflation. Here's for the second village and keep the Argonian. This is what we've been missing on the gaming streams because I haven't. You need to use like a Proton to make the VTuber software work on Linux. So like that's the one part of the streaming setup that I just haven't done yet.
If people donate enough, you'll be able to buy a second laptop, a Windows laptop.
Yeah, that does the VTuber stuff and then exports it to the main laptop. That would mean I would need another fucking cam link.
You know, if you just had a Kinect.
What's funny is you could probably plug the Kinect into the Linux laptop and it would just work. Have you ever Googled Skyrim inflation? Yeah, look up
Oh no.
Back in the day, you used to be able to go to College of Winterhold for 5 gold. Nowadays, you know, they're charging 25,000 septims a semester. Just to learn a basic flame spell. People spend most of their time at the tavern.
Uh-huh.
And it's populists like Ulfric Stormcloak that are really trying to get the Nordic youth out of the College of Winterhold and going to learn blacksmithing instead of a traditional academic path. You know what's happening is the College of Winterhold, they want to stay around. These Ivy League schools, they want to stay around, so they're just mass importing foreign students from Morrowind.
Fucking.
And so it's like,
I cannot believe it. That's why the whole collapse happened.
Well, this is why fucking Ulfric's retarded, because it's like, oh, I'm an anti-immigrant candidate, and yet here he is pushing mass immigration of like students into our Ivy League magical institutions.
Dunmer at that. Dunmer mages. Do you know how dangerous they
did
can be?
Did you see the fucking headline? Apparently, one of the most powerful magical artifacts in the world was in Skyrim. Was in the ancestral home of the Nords. And we just gave it away to some mysterious alt organization. Oh, they say they're at war with the Thalmor, but did they help during the Great War? Learn to cast, said the mage when the ebony mine shut down. The future's transmute spells. Dumbass, you're wasting your life in a fucking iron mine. I'm over here transmuting gold. It's disgraceful. What the hell is Ulfric Stormcloak doing about the Thieves Guild? You know they've been growing in influence in Skyrim lately? Even, at least the Penitus Oculatus is on top of the Dark Brotherhood and wiped them out. One of my, I've been a big fan of bits that are just like doing a parody of the news, but doing it in a fantasy setting. So we do it a lot in the WoW Guild.
I'm trying to think what else we got. I mean, there was just so much that happened this week.
Yeah, the focus is on like the main IPs now. So Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Halo. That's why Halo 3, like we haven't heard anything about 343 layoffs yet. Expect
well,
they have the 1,200 jobs lined up and ready to go with if Campaign Evolved fails.
How many people are even left at 3432 layoff?
I don't know. They outsourced Campaign Evolved.
That's the thing. It's like I don't know if there's a studio left to lay off over there.
Imagine if they fired Emil Pagliarulo from these latest layoffs. Yeah, one of the funniest things about the Never Knows Best video is that it completely failed because the whole disdain for Emil Pagliarulo breached containment anyways. Now there's like a bunch, like, now he shows up in thumbnails just like fucking Todd Howard does.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the biggest sign that Never Knows Best failed.
Well, it's also like, people just figured it out. They figured out who to blame with all this shit. You can only fuck up so much before people realize, like...
Thoughts on the Sony all-digital campaign? We talked a bit about it last week, but we can kind of revisit that with some of our thoughts. So yeah, Sony's trying to do away with the physical component of buying console games, and it spawned this really complicated conversation because, you know, it's a nuanced thing, and, you know, hot take websites like Twitch and Twitter are not for nuanced positions. So like, Stop Killing Games made a thing where it's like, the future of ownership is digital anyways, like physical's on its way out. And so a lot of people were kind of disappointed that Stop Killing Games like wasn't innately pro-physical. And I was like, that could wrap around to being a based position if they were saying that, because like a physical copy of a game is a digital copy because it's digitally stored on the disc. So it's like, you know, if you solidify digital ownership rights, then it doesn't matter that like physical is just, it's just a consumer preference at that point.
So I was seeing, I've been reading some interesting stuff from analysts this past week about this. One of them was saying that this isn't going to matter in the long run, that you know, Sony's still going to make their money and stuff, that the people who are saying that they're going to boycott, they're going to puss out, all this shit.
Yeah.
And then there's another one who was saying that removing the disk drive is as relevant as when Apple removed the disk drive from their devices. And his point was like, and look how many people still complain about that, as in like nobody complains about it. But it's kind of missing the point that like Apple didn't kill discs. They just stopped supporting it on their hardware. Sony, on the other hand, produces the discs. They're literally going to kill the medium.
Just to be clear, Chatter, you're not saying anything I'm not unfamiliar with the whole revocation thing. We talked about that last week with the 550 movies they delisted from their library.
Yeah.
Yeah. The analysts are cocksuckers, you know. They are bag holding Sony, and so they're
yeah.
It's more of a matter of you know, did you know there's a big rivalry between the Sony fan base and the I might not be a girl. The rivalry between the Sony fan base and the Steam. It's not really like a two-way rivalry. It's Sony people are mad at Steam people, and it's like I've always thought that was just a jealousy thing. Because like it started after the Helldivers 2 Sony account thing, where like the PC user base just told Sony to fuck off, and they did.
Yeah.
And I think that the like PlayStation people are jealous of the fact that we had the bargaining power to just tell Sony to fuck off.
Yeah.
In a way that they've never been able to. Yeah, I agree with so yes, the Sony people really don't understand how PCs work, where they're like, well, when was the last time you bought a PC game physically? And it's like, but that doesn't matter because I can crack 99% of my Steam library and put it on my NAS and then have it forever. And it's up to me at that point to preserve it in my library. And it's like, you know, there's probably some games in my library where that's against the terms of service, and it's just a matter of I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't fucking care that it's against the terms of service to crack the game. They can fuck off. I know on Sony, on like the latest PlayStation, you can't do that. You have to wait a generation for the console to get cracked, and then you have that functionality. But like, we could just do that. There's a guy who fucking ran Factorio off of floppy disks. Like,
oh, fucking Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the remake. It had de novo in it, and it was cracked before the game came out. I just thought that was funny.
And like, game developers eventually dropped de novo on a lot of times, anyways.
Yeah. But you know,
the only reason why consoles exist at this rate is purely because of tech literacy. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting when people have to pay $1,000 for the PS6, and
I think Project Zomboid's the GOAT. I'm not sure I approve of the early access update of an early access update, but I've said that Project Zomboid's probably one of the best survival games ever made.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's better than Dune. ESO will be hacked and taken offline in a matter of months. Nothing ever happens. The average consumer is not spending $1,000 for a console.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're definitely entering a weird space where console affordability has to come back, or else these companies are kind of fucked. That's why it's a weird move. Why would you fucking mess around with your customer base during a time period when they might not be able to afford the next console generation?
Why would you be working on a next console generation when hardware is memory and stuff is like,
here's how you win.
The most scarce than it's ever been.
Here's how you win. Here's why Nintendo's doing the best. Switch 2 sucks, but Switch 2, lower power, cheaper to produce, is a lower price point. Yeah, it sucks that Mario Kart's $80, but like at the end of the day, when it comes to like forward-thinking console hardware, Nintendo's embraced the fact that like the realism graphics chase is just gonna fuck them over financially with the way that component prices are going. So make a cheaper machine. Yeah, it's gonna be lower power, but also then pivot your publishing side to embracing the fact that we're in a period of austerity. We're in a period where we can no longer afford to infinitely expand upwards with our graphical components. And so it's like, yeah, you're just going to have to get used to the reality that like the average person's not going to have more than 4 gigabytes of VRAM. Yeah, it sucks. Sorry that if you were excited for the future of realism in modern gaming, probably going to need the broader economic recession to end. Apologies that it interrupted your circuses a little bit.
Well, it's also not only does having, you know, lower graphical fidelity decrease the overhead for hardware, it also decreases the overhead for development.
Yeah.
You need less artists. You need fewer.
It's a smart decision all around.
Fewer resources. Yeah.
It's just like a weird kind of delusion that's like, no, any second now the paradigm's going to come back. And it's like, we had 8 fucking console generations that established what you could do at different hardware levels. And it's like, we don't have to go back to like the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not the end of the world if games go back to the way they looked on the Xbox One.
Yeah, like... And again, it's like, why do we need new hardware right now? I don't...
Here's the deal. Here's the thing. If PlayStation released a console that was like a little lower power, or maybe like the same power but like with a cheaper production or whatever, and they were able to introduce it at a lower price point, that's what you could introduce to the market right now.
Yeah. I just think, considering they're already struggling to even make games and release them in a timely fashion, focus on that.
Yeah.
Focus on the development side there.
Untangle the Gordian knot of modern game development.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Sterling spoke of this. Remember how we didn't really mention Total Biscuit last week? Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. He was there too, guys, but I was just saying Jim Sterling was one of the few voices back in the day of like pushing back against this type of greed. I will have Lizard Pat's number. Listen, the Argonian model grows on me. I love... How many lizard people VTuber models are there? I always ask, like, how many VTuber models of a certain thing are there? And then it's always like, yeah, there's like 15 of them that have like 5 views each. Jim threw Total Biscuit under the bus. Oh no, absolutely. Gamergate broke that whole thing because Total Biscuit was he was open to Gamergate because he recognized a lot of the problems that they were pointing out in the ethical sense with games journalism. And Jim Sterling was not happy with that because, of course, he was on the flip side. He was friends with games journalists because he was one.
That's been the fun perspective as well during this whole Xbox blood tsunami. All the game journalists and stuff being like, you know, evil Xbox, blah, 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 all this shit. And it's like, you know, you guys are culpable in this too.
Yeah, I mean, you
guys have been gaslighting them. You've been fucking cockriding Xbox and stuff for like 10, 15 years, telling them that their shit doesn't stink. And whenever gamers would start to actually, you know, complain and stuff, you would then, you know, say gamers are dead and all this other shit. Like, you guys are just as culpable here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I know it sucks to hear, but the new paradigm wasn't real, and you do bear like not supporting fiscal responsibility and thinking we can own the chuds and just make whatever we want to, and Microsoft's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
That wasn't really the case. And like, yeah, it is, you do have a partial share in the failure. Not a huge share, sure. It's Phil Spencer's fault at the end of the day, but you know, you did support the delusion.
When I saw that interview that you showed me of Jeff Keighley like staring down,
Yeah, if you guys don't remember, we can check. Maybe we should check it out.
oh yeah, you could put it up.
Yeah, there is a Don Matrick clip that we revisited, and
it's just like if this was the norm for game journalists, I feel like
we
I feel like
yeah,
a
we
lot of this
lost
could have
something.
a lot of this could have been averted.
Yeah, let me get the exact timestamp. Here we go. It's early in the interview.
Great experience.
There's 20 games on stage.
Well, there's about.
This is what games journalists used to be able to do. This is from the time period. This is right before Gamergate. Just think about that for a second. They're even less competent than that.
20.
Okay. Give or take a few. You might add another one in at the last minute. You never know, right?
So it's a great line for games.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think people are going to love it, and then they're going to understand what we're trying to create and how it links games and entertainment, the functionality of the box, some of the advantages that you get of having a box that is designed to use an online state. So that, to me, is a future-proof choice, and I think people could have arguably gone the other way if we didn't do it, and fortunately we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't.
Well,
That's a lot more than just always letting him hang in himself. He's confronting him. So stick with 360. That's your answer? Like, look at this face and tell me that Jeff Keighley did not just fucking cook this man alive. Don Matrick lost his job because of this fucking interview.
Yeah, that was my question when I saw this. Was like, was this the last interview Jeff did with him? Because he was out of a job afterwards.
blind device. I mean, seriously, when I read the blogs and thought about...
Yeah, I mean, like, that's like 2 minutes into this interview, and that's how fucking cooked he is. And it's like, that's what games journalists can't even do that now. They're fucking mouthpieces for the industry because they're scared of losing access.
Yeah.
It's always the same bullshit. It all ties back into the same stuff. Why are there people who have the Halo campaign evolved a month before it comes out? It's because they're running an access thing, and it's like you gotta suck them off, get your early copies so that you can promote it, because that's the only way that you'll gain traction is by like posting clips of it online before everybody else. And so it's like you have to be a mouthpiece. Or just as bad, you're fucking friends with these people and you feel bad for them. And it's like, so you don't want to do your job as a journalist and investigate this stuff and report on it.
Investigative journalism?
At least
Not-
Jason
not
Schreier
my
is
video
saying
games.
something.
Yeah.
I think he had a few hiccups about it, but like, you know, he is saying things. Yeah, as somebody in chat said, it's bleak that Jason Schreier is the best game journalist we have.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's fucking disgraceful. So, you know, there was no journalist who had that Don Matrick moment of just like calling Phil Spencer out to his face.
You paid what for Activision?
Do you really think that
fucking
$69 billion makes sense? Did you guys catch that?
We get World of Warcraft. Phil, I got some bad news for you about WoW. You're about a decade too late on that.
Game publisher is getting fleeced by developers the old-fashioned way. The solution to the gaming situation is to completely kill it. I mean, you don't have to, one, you can't completely kill it. The whole game crash in 1983 thing, that was only possible because the industry was highly consolidated into a couple fragile companies. And even then, it was a local market level regional recession, and like it just resulted in a couple companies going out of business, and then immediately everybody else bounced back.
Yeah.
It's highly overrated. I'm sorry if you thought that people were gonna, publishers were gonna be jumping out of windows and shooting themselves live on air. The decline is just a gradual, slow. Elements of your life will stop working. There's one day, one day the power will go out. But no, I would love to say that, Xbox should go out of business, but the problem is they need to all go out of business around the same time.
Right.
And that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, otherwise somebody else is going to just gobble up Microsoft or Xbox, and they'll be the new one.
Yeah, because Phil Spencer was running welfare for game devs. He really was. Then this is something that I've just really wanted to rant about. Was his approach was, he would buy a company and then he would look at them and say, "Listen, we just want you to do your thing, make the games for us. No, we're cut into and all that." And it was like, that's good and all, but you clearly got taken advantage of. You got molested when you bought Activision Blizzard by Bobby Kotick. Obsidian took you for a ride and made a bunch of shitty games and made you foot the bill for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, at the end of the day, all that amounted to was that Phil Spencer ran welfare for a bunch of computer science and humanities majors who make more money than you do. These are people who are making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, if not more, if they're in senior positions. You're supposed to feel bad that the dole went away for them.
It's the gamers' fault. They weren't buying enough microtransactions.
If you bought the microtransactions, we could have afforded to...
They called High Guard woke, and that's why the game failed.
Yeah. Again, it all ties into Gamergate. Gamers are dead. Why are you a Lizard Mage girl? Because nobody's donated in a while. Have you guys settled on this being the best one? Has the Dunmer girl been supplanted? Remember, the Falmer girl exists. And the Orc girl. And the Altmer girl. And the Altmer girl can go invisible too. And the Bosmer boy. Here, we'll stick on Bosmer boy. The average game developer salary in the US is roughly $108,000 to $142,000 per year, depending on the role. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy to me. I can't conceptualize the average game developer making six figures. I think that has to be, like Silicon Valley outliers. The people at Obsidian are probably making that much, but they also have to live in Irvine, California, where it's absurdly expensive. So it's like
exactly.
they're probably fucking in a cost of living situation. They're probably poorer than I am. 6 figures doesn't buy you much anymore. Skill issue. What vehicle are you driving?
I think it's telling that a lot of the studios, a lot of the indie studios that I'm seeing that are being successful right now are all 100% remote. Did you know the Enshrouded team is 100% remote?
That doesn't surprise me.
I remember because I've been following them for a while. So like initially I was watching this stuff and I was like, oh yeah, they're all just doing their things from their bedrooms because of COVID or whatever. They'll eventually get into the office, and then like it was one of the most recent ones I saw. And like, wait, they're still all doing the thing from their bedrooms.
Yeah, I mean it's
like they're entirely remote.
It's just a more like look. If you're starting a company nowadays, there's no way that like you're gonna you just ask a bunch of game developers, would you rather work in office or would you rather work remote? A lot of them are gonna say remote.
But
it's just a more like agile way to structure it.
You can't do creative stuff. You need the office for creativity, and then I play Enshrouded and it's like,
yeah, clearly they don't have that issue.
Yeah.
I get it. I love the concept of a physical space, by the way, opening a game store one day. So it's like, physical spaces are cool, but...
They cost money. It's overhead.
Yeah.
And
it's one of those things where it's like you start your first project, you work remote, and then you think about, like, everybody who wants to get an office does so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? Fuck it. Do it somewhere that's cheap.
Well, that's the thing.
You're telling me that you don't want to live in a college town in middle America?
Yeah.
Can't get the tax write-off for office space if it's remote. Yeah, but I mean, like, is it worth it?
Yeah, no, it's doing a tax write-off isn't 100%.
The least good-looking model. 1 second.
You don't get the rent for free just because you're writing it off. You're going to save more money if you're just not renting the space.
This is my least favorite model.
And again, if you're 100% remote, then you can just pay people less. You don't have to pay them $150,000 because they're living in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, if those people are looking for jobs and stuff, they're going to have to find jobs locally because we're paying, under the assumption that you're living in a normal housing market.
I see your rigger fixed the weird mirror textures. Yeah, it's not... The stuff he does is not one-to-one with the games. Like, if we look at the Master Chief model, the visor texture is different. Just a different way that he had to go about making it. It's so satisfying. I know it's one of those, there's people who are upset, like, how could you cheer for people losing their jobs? But it's like, I think I said in like 2020 that I don't give a shit if these game companies hold people's jobs hostage.
Yeah.
I don't have a reference, but I can just zoom out. So she's got black stockings, she's got like Converse on. The blue dress with a like red tied together top.
Well, like I posited the question particularly in regards to like the game journalists who are like, Xbox is so evil, laying off all these people. And it's like, well, what's the alternative? You have Asha Sharma saying we were losing, what was it, 65 cents for every dollar, and
64 cents for the dollar. Which again, $100 million project, and they're getting $36 million back.
What are you supposed to do in that situation? What's the alternative here?
Obviously, Asha Sharma should take a pay cut. Elon Musk should send $1 trillion to Africa and solve world hunger.
Well, this is when they, just whip out the "this is why capitalism is evil" thing.
Well, that's the brilliance of the move.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here being like, wow, it's nice when capitalism actually works.
Yeah, I mean, this is the system working.
Yeah. You can only go on for so long making stuff that people don't want, that your audience, that your consumers don't want. That's only going to go on for so long before.
Yeah, I mean, what's next? The federal government is subsidizing Microsoft to keep Xbox people employed.
Yeah.
So that these people are economically productive. Like, in China, Phil would be in jail. The motherfucker in the U.S., Phil Spencer should be in jail.
Yes. I do think
get him on fucking a Ponzi scheme. Get him on
defrauding investors.
Gross negligence. Get him on fucking RICO. I don't care. Get him on something.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch? Did you guys watch the Lego video part 3?
I did.
Good stuff. Check it out. Reckless Ben, the Lego documentary. It's one of those weird things where, I was thinking about. Sometimes I think about like the devil's advocate of like controversial situations. Like, well, why did I think this? It's such a weird thing where I have nothing. Where like my critiques are just like the tiniest stuff. Like, you guys never said the word property when you were talking to the police about this stuff. They might respond differently if you actually say the words that they respond to.
Yeah.
Or it's like, I get why they're having this misunderstanding. And then it's like, I'm like, maybe Ben is fallible. And then, he immediately I unpause. He opens his mouth and he's like, and so the CEO called the police and said we threatened to burn down their building. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Never mind.
No, it is one of those situations where it's like my usual critiques and stuff are just fall completely flat.
Here's the problem with the lawyer thing is, if Ben was any more cognizant of how to be a responsible investigative journalist, the story doesn't work.
Yeah.
It goes the CoffeeZilla route where it's like CoffeeZilla gets them to say like, oh, well, we just needed these spreadsheets, and then like, oh, the story ends. His belligerence proves over and over that like, oh yeah, they were going to resolve it for us, so we sent them our email, and what did he do with the email? Oh, he subpoenaed Google and got all of my fucking account information and got all of my emails, dumped my entire Google Drive to get my project files, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
This guy, what was the limit here? Was like, if he was fucking like using a Google phone number to like sext his girlfriend, was like the guy gonna get that too just because it was on Google? Like, there was no limit to what this guy could fucking subpoena? Why can he subpoena this?
Because the entire state of Utah is corrupt. I was saying after I watched this video, after I watched this part, I'm like, I can't wait for this to go to the Supreme Court.
I can't wait for this to start the next Mormon war.
Yeah. It is very frustrating watching this and just being like, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, thankfully, the framers and the Federalists thought about this and were like, Yeah, we need to have a few checks and balances here to like make sure you can elevate the case out of a local court, because obviously they're gonna fucking steamroll this guy.
Yeah.
What a week. We were gonna do the stream yesterday, and then like the news that they were gonna protest the shutdown happened this morning.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the weekend just so that hopefully I can have a break for a couple days.
I'm curious, like, some shit's probably happened in the time we've been streaming.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Well, it's so, because it's not just like, it's not just the Xbox stuff, like the Xbox news and stuff. It's also people's reactions to it. And just getting information on like who exactly was laid off. It is neat that we're getting like actual hard numbers for like, this is the amount of people who got laid off at Obsidian. This is the amount that got laid off at Bethesda and stuff.
Microsoft has clarified that they're not pushing id Software or machine games to Unreal Engine.
Oh, really?
New Fallout before Tez 6. I mean, if they're starting it now, probably not.
Unless they've restarted development on Tez 6.
That's still a crazy theory.
The Fallout 76 team, didn't they get hit with layoffs?
Yeah, they got hit pretty hard. The Bethesda Austin.
All 11 of them?
Yeah, all 11 people that were still working on Fallout 76 are gone. Chances they'll make an isometric Fallout. You know, okay. I was thinking about this. One of the paths forward is you just splinter off teams and they just make more shoot-off games to fill the void. And it's like, you don't need hundreds of people to make a mainline, you know, Rockstar style, this is the big blockbuster entry. Yeah, have the Obsidian team make a new isometric Fallout game.
Yeah.
Like, that is a much better idea than having them make another, like, first-person Fallout game. I know people... I'm probably going to lean towards it's going to be pushed to be a New Vegas-style sequel, but, like, that would be the competent way to do it. And I think they should do the same thing with Elder Scrolls. I think they should spin off a small team, make side entries that are, like... Just give the team the tools from one of the previous games, like Oblivion or Skyrim, or even Morrowind if you want, and have them make a new thing in that old engine, in the stylings of that old game. And it can just be like a little side adventure that is designed to appeal to the old fan base, and that can help with like the interim of not having an Elder Scrolls game in 15 fucking years.
But we did do this. It was called Blades, and people didn't like it. So
stop being lolcows. Be competent. The Blaze's main value was that it was like a weird experiment with Unity. I genuinely think that was them seeing if maybe they should switch engines to Unity. And they probably realized no.
We did do this. It was called Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
We did do this. It was called Fallout 76.
But I mean, even that's still like flagship titles. I'm talking like a team of like 10 people.
We did do this. It's called Fallout 76.
No. 10 people at the start of development, not maintaining it. Yeah, you're here late if you're pointing out that JSaw is the designer on the new Fallout thing. Which that's a very headline way to approach it. Although it is interesting. There is a bit of interesting politics there, because it's like, oh, they didn't make Tim Kaine or Fergus the head of Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
They put JSaw in charge. A guy that of those three has the least to do with Fallout. Still would love to see a Wasteland game in the style of a first-person RPG, while Fallout gets an isometric adventure. Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of genre shifting this stuff, like weird little side adventures.
I genuinely, playing Blades, no shit, genuinely makes me want like a dedicated Elder Scrolls dungeon crawling game
Also,
on PC.
Andy's here, so I got to do a Halo model.
Yeah.
We're on, okay. We're not dooming at all. We've been thrilled about this. We're so happy because the gaslighting seems to be over.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, this is going to make their conferences and their marketing just a lot more tolerable.
It is funny how Chris Avellone just revealed a bunch of shit that he's based for that.
Yeah.
Chris Avellone, as a ex-game developer, is doing more for the investigative journalism in our industry than fucking actual journalists.
He's been a fantastic source.
I'm saddened by id Software's fate. Well, it's more like how you said in the Halo 4 video of like, oh, you're just finding out that they've been dead for a while. You know, id Software was dealt the killing blow by ZeniMax like 5 years ago, and this is just the seeds that were sowed years ago finally being reaped. Like ESO or not, if this ends up killing ESO just so they can maintain the corpse that is Fallout 76, I'll actually just mauled. It's weird because I view those games equivalently in terms of maintained player base.
Yeah. Which is probably why both teams got gutted so hard.
I'm the one person who saw potential on Dark Ages, to be fair. Yeah, I think Dark Ages got relegated to like the Shadow Realm in terms of player reception, because I think Doom Eternal was one of those situations where people quietly quit the franchise.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
they didn't think Doom Eternal was good, but they didn't make not a lot of people made a stink about it. A few people said things, but a lot of people were just like, this wasn't as good, so I'm just gonna not play the same thing. Because Doom Eternal was the game where the quote, "You control the buttons you press" came from.
You control the buttons you press.
You've never seen that? It's like it's a big reaction image. It's a reply where if somebody's complaining that like sprint in Halo sucks, there will be somebody who will post a screen cap of the Doom Eternal account saying, "You control the buttons you press."
Okay. Yeah, that's those are words. That is a statement.
I'd say it's a bit more complex. My enjoyment from Eternal died thanks to the lackluster expansions, which seems to be consistent with a lot of people. I think Doom 2016 was just an aberration in popularity, is the deal. It didn't translate to Eternal, and then a lot of people quit Eternal, but they didn't make it known. And it's kind of like how, well, it's not like this at all, because anybody could have said that The Outer Worlds shouldn't have gotten a sequel. But The Outer Worlds was a quiet quitting situation, where it was like, people didn't signal that they were not going to buy an Outer Worlds sequel loudly, but you could figure that out before the game came out.
Yeah, and you have to remember, is like, the longer a franchise goes on, the more people get invested into it, the louder they're going to voice their disappointment when there finally is a game that, you know, disappoints, that lets them down. One game being good and then the sequel not being as good is not going to be enough to get most people to sit there and like really take to the streets and let the developers know. They're just going to be like, oh, okay, whatever. I wasn't that invested anyways. And especially a game like Doom 2016, which like isn't, it's not a game that you're going to be sinking hundreds of hours into. So most people are probably only going to play like 20, 30 hours or so. So they're going to be like, oh, okay, the game that I played, you know, 5 years ago, the sequel to that wasn't all that good. Oh, okay, whatever. And they see Doom Eternal on the, or Dark Age is, on the store shelves or whatever, and they're just like, I'll pass. It's like that quote where it's just like the, apathy is pretty much the worst thing for a video game to have to deal with.
Yeah, a mid game is worse than a bad game.
Yeah.
Which is why I maintain that Starfield was a bad game, because it gets a lot of, negative reception as compared to something like The Outer Worlds, which was a mid game.
Yeah.
Apathy is death. My preferred quote is, "Let the past die. Kill it if you have to." Remember that from the movie we watched?
Which one was it again?
The only movie we watched? The only movie we've ever watched together?
Which one was it again? I don't remember the name. It wasn't... Rise of Skywalker?
I wish. I wasn't able to find... I wasn't able to find Rise of Skywalker. We watched The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi.
Actually, I still haven't found Rise of Skywalker physically. I don't know.
It's just that good.
It might not exist.
People don't want to get rid of it.
Where's Phil Spencer at? Do you think that, like, in a couple months they're gonna find him, like, face down in a pool?
Nah.
He did his damage. Now they just gotta let him go. No point being mad about it.
You'll see him doing, like, speaking engagements at, like, small colleges.
Here's how to get away with it.
The guy probably has millions of dollars anyways, so...
Yeah, he could retire, but, like, does a guy like Phil Spencer retire?
Yeah, probably.
I'm just curious where someone like that goes.
Florida, Nevada.
In my day, I was a pretty big game producer. You ever hear of Halo Infinite? So hang on. If Halo Infinite was $500 million and they got the average return on investment, so 36 million times 5 is $180 million on a $500 million investment. In the biz, here's the thing. If I go on my investment portfolio and I look at how my stock picks have been doing, and typically I'm like, oh yeah, I got +4, +6% this year. That's pretty good, right? If I logged into that and I saw that I was down 64%, I'm putting the gun barrel in my mouth.
Yeah, that's about when I sold all my Intel. It's like, ooh, that was a huge shit sandwich that I just ate.
And
my favorite was like... when they were popping, like some of my friends were texting me like, oh, Intel's popping and stuff. I know you sold, but like if you'd held, I'm just like, stop right there. If I'd held, I still wouldn't have broken even at this point.
Ooh.
Like, oh, you were really in the hole. I'm like, put that graph on a 5-year. There you go. Now you can see.
Brutal. This is from Halo unreleased tracks, so that's probably why you've heard it but never heard it in a game. Kind of cool. 64%. 14 layers of management. Luke Steffens did a example of what it would be like to go through 14 layers of management. So he did the bit, you know, I think that's a good idea. Let me talk to this person. And he did that 14 times to demonstrate how long it would take to get through that. In fairness, that was the worst example of it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the top outlier. But I mean, like, even if it was like 8 layers of management.
Even if it was like 4 layers of management.
Well, so 4's their goal. Their goal is to get it down, like, company-wide to 3 to 5 layers.
I'm just imagining a game, you know, like a
it's
environment artist at Bethesda, right?
No,
like,
no.
I want to place this chair here.
I can do this for you. You're a game designer at Bethesda, so like you're writing a quest. Your boss is Will Shin on Starfield. Your boss is Will Shin, so that's 1 layer. His boss is Emil, that's 2 layers. And Emil's boss is Todd, that's 3 layers. And then Todd's boss is whoever's at ZeniMax, right? Because that's the purse holder.
No, it's Jill Braff. She's head of like Bethesda's ZeniMax via Xbox. Like she's his
Starfield
direct
era.
boss. Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right.
So it's like that's the progression up the chain, and that sounds more functional than 14 layers. Because it's like, even in the military, there's not fucking 14 layers of command between, like, the president and the average grunt. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine, like, what, man, that would have to be like, one of the subsidiary like a subsidiary of a subsidiary studio. To get that many layers. Like a subsidiary of a subsidiary of a studio under the Activision Blizzard umbrella.
Yeah, it's like Raven Software making a fucking map pack for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
They have 14 bosses.
Yeah.
There are 26 rank levels.
I'm willing to bet that's where it was. It was in the Activision Blizzard division.
I'm thinking squad composition. You don't just count rank levels, because it's like, you know, corporals aren't necessarily ordering privates around. They're listening to their sergeant. The sergeants get their order from the lieutenant. The lieutenants get their order from the captain. Captain goes to the colonel. Colonel goes to the general. Like, that type of shit. It would be infinite if they just kept making money. Yeah, but we've got no evidence they ever made money. Again, what Asha Sharma said was they were losing 64% of their investments on average.
Yeah, that doesn't indicate you don't get to that point overnight. That's a systemic buildup.
Yeah, so it's like well,
I think the other problem too is that Xbox is becoming less and less relevant to Microsoft and their vision.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pointed out 1,000 times. The two companies are at odds. You have the game side that wants RAM to be cheaper so that they can continue to make Xboxes, and you have Microsoft who wants RAM to be more expensive so that they can keep passing money back and forth and pretending to have produced GDP. Game Pass was a mistake. I mean, we have the answer to the Game Pass gambit, and this is why I said that on stream 3 years ago. The whole, like, what's the way that they make money with this? And the answer was they didn't. It didn't work. That's why it was a gambit.
I wonder if they'll just cancel Game Pass.
It's too valuable. It'll always exist in some capacity. Just in case that its value will be in case they want to dust it off and try it again. So they don't have to start from nothing. I mean, they never got rid of Xbox Live, and that was redundant for years.
Yeah.
That was an effectively unnecessary thing, but they kept it around and rolled it into Game Pass eventually. And it's like, you keep stuff like that around, even if it's gathering dust, even if it's not doing well, just in case. Yeah, Game Pass was self-serving at the end of the day. It was Phil Spencer's way to keep his job. Was Game Pass inherently flawed, or was its failure just bad luck? I mean, no, it's not a competent business model. Who the fuck, like, I know that this might be a thing for some movies, but, like, who the fuck puts, like, would you put the Backrooms on Netflix the same day that it's in a movie theater? No, that makes no fucking sense. So it's like, why would you put a game day one on Game Pass?
Well, I also would consider it from the consumer's point of view as well, where it's just like, I was never going to get Game Pass. I like owning my games.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will agree with that sentiment. So it's like, Game Pass always felt like something that was just, it was trying to justify itself.
People are asking whatever, but fuck it, I'll entertain it. Has the age of the chud begun? Or does 80% of the industry need to go completely bankrupt and never return? I mean, both. We're still in a situation where there's a lot of game companies that could benefit from massive downsizing. I mean, just from the get rid of the chaff that is your HR department.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, I said in the Blades video, like, the free market doesn't work with stopping stuff like killing games, but the free market does absolutely work when it comes to, like, shit that doesn't sell.
Yeah. That's why it's always so effective to just hit them, you know, hit them at the pocketbook.
Yeah, it's just like
with your wallet.
If you don't like Campaign Evolved, if you don't like the idea of it, don't buy it.
Yep.
It has more of an effect than you think. It's always had more of an effect than you think. People not buying Halo Infinite's why they're in the bad way they are. Yeah, it's like, yeah, they're trundling along and trying to ruin Halo as much as they can, but, like, you know, that's because there was an irrational market that was propping that up.
No, like I said, it's nice to see the market working. Like, this isn't a collapse. This is a correction.
Yeah, I've been boycotting the industry for the past 5 years. I've been boycotting the industry since, like, 2014. Get on my level. This is where somebody's like, I've been boycotting the industry since the Xbox 360. But
based.
That's a person that recognizes when the golden age ended. Do you think Skyrim 2 has any chance of being a massive success anyways? Yeah, it obviously has a chance. But do I think with the current trajectory? No. Because the first mistake, the biggest mistake that they're making right now is not talking about the game. Talk about the game. See what people online say about it. Incorporate that into the design now. Don't do it the month before the game comes out when you want to advertise it. Do it now. It's free.
They're gonna do it afterwards. They're gonna do it afterwards because then they can sell the expansions.
Yeah, they're gonna release an update like 12 months after the game comes out. Hey guys, we finally added Jeeps to the game. We finally added maps. I was revisiting the State of Bethesda video, and I was reminded once again that they needed a patch to add maps to their open world exploration game. They had to release that shit in an update, and it took them like 7 months.
I don't see what's wrong with this. The level design is just so good. You don't need maps.
In the time that it took for Bethesda to make Hearthfire and Dawnguard for Skyrim, it took them to make an update for fucking maps for Starfield.
Yeah.
New news, Microsoft owned firms to lay off more than 350 workers in ZeniMax via the Baltimore Sun. That's not new news. That's the ZeniMax Online. That's 200 people from the online team, and that's 166 people from ZeniMax Media, which was like redundant publisher people. That was people who probably shouldn't have had their jobs to begin with and only did because of like the merger thing that was going on, where it was like, oh, we're not going to get rid of redundant positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was disappointed. I was looking for new news and I didn't see any like crazy headlines that happened while we were streaming. You can't fish for it. You have to let Joe Biden has to drop out of the race organically. Skyrim 2 won't have the music from Skyrim 1. Yeah, Blade's music.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Blade's music? You mean the Fallout 4 music?
Inan Zur, I don't think he has the chops for fantasy.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll prove us wrong, but Blades was not a good showing of it. Save us, Joe Biden. It's sad because Inan Zur was amazing on 76.
Yeah.
But that kind of disproves the theory where it's like, oh, you know, Skyrim was carried by the music. Well, if that was the case, then Fallout 76 would be better regarded. It's got a pretty good soundtrack.
id Software provides proof of life, says it still has the crew we need to build the games and tech we're known for after massive layoffs. The team today is about the same size we were when making Doom 2016.
That sounds very intentional.
Yeah.
Which is like, so they grew all this, and what were they doing? What was the benefit of them having the 90 extra people?
To sell fewer copies.
Just to sell less games. Five times the studio size for 1 times the amount of content. At this point, I don't remember. It's just like, it was a generic VTuber model software that manipulates like VRM models. It infamously had an unusually small team from their Doom 3 Rage 2016 era. Yeah, I mean, they were barely eking on. Like, that's how big a deal Doom 2016 was, that it revived that studio because, you know, they were in a state where Bethesda could afford them.
I like this headline. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced returns us to the golden age of piracy. Yeah, I mean, they had that shit cracked before the game even came out.
Make game about pirates. Mad when they pirate your game. Bill Spencer spent $70 billion so Game Pass subs could go from 34 million to 30 million. Yeah, I mean, what's just a terrible deal. Like, what did Game Pass get out of that? Day one Call of Duty? And that just made, like, the Call of Duty financial situation worse. I'm feeling like companies like id were set up to fail through bad sales caused by day one Game Pass releases. Game Pass was a lose-lose situation. As I understand, they were given assurances, I don't know if these were followed through, but they were given assurances that that would not be a black mark against them if a game didn't sell well because it was on Game Pass.
Did we talk about Destiny 2 and the layoffs there? And
I think we mentioned it, but you can bring it up again.
well, I'm just reading a headline that the game is now officially in maintenance mode.
Yeah,
they had their final update and then immediately laid off.
Yeah,
like,
we did
the
mention it because we talked about Justin Truman. Another ding dong, the witch is dead moment.
Yeah. It is.
And it's just another instance of you reap what you fucking sow.
Yeah. All the hens have really come home to roost.
Why do you think Bethesda's so clammed up about TES 6? Okay. Conspiracy theory. The Starfield streams. Surely there's somebody on the team that like pointed out like, hey, there were these streams that were happening before the game came out and it led to this video that was really bad for us. And so we need to, you know, with all the anti-woke Inquisitor stuff, you know, people are looking for blood from us. We need to lay low and not reveal too much. Okay, that's the conspiracy theory.
Here's how we Here's how we verify that. You and I just walk up to walk up to Bethesda's offices, knock on the door, and be like, "Hey guys."
Yeah, if they're all like hiding.
Shows up.
Yeah.
Security shows up.
Well, it's not foolproof. Security will show up anyways, but
you need to leave.
Some intern at Bethesda watched all of you in private videos / streams. They know. I don't put creed in it because there's no proof of it and it's very egotistical to think. But, yeah, you know, that's why it's the crack pipe conspiracy theory. If we go by what Todd says, Todd's in this weird arc where he doesn't want to reveal information. And I think that's because he got tired of being asked like hard questions on interviews. But also like,
I mean, Todd has stated many times that he hates marketing games.
That's why you hire people to do this, Todd.
Yeah, not right.
I had written this in the video. Fuck.
But whoever they hire to do it's just not going to be as good as him. Like, you know, he has the level 100 fortified charisma.
I'm gonna have to look at the script.
Todd just has like a very interesting perspective on like game development and like what gamers want and stuff. I really do buy his like, I want to give the gamers that reveal moment. He's very big on the reveals, the step out moments and stuff. And apparently, one of the step out moments is like just people seeing the trailer for the first time.
No, this is what I wanted to say. Remember when they got a bunch of like content creators together that were in the Starfield ecosystem, and they showed them Starfield 2.0. They showed them the Terran Armada update, and then it was radio silence for 7 months. I think that was probably the turning point where they did that. They saw that the crowd was not impressed at all and said,
yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I think that was probably a come to Jesus moment because like they walked back the whole Starfield 2.0 thing. If Todd Howard's going on interviews and saying, yeah, sorry, we it's not really going to be Starfield 2.0. Like companies don't say that something's going to be a 2.0 relaunch and then walk it back.
Yeah, I'm imagining that you know, the theater that they show everybody, the creation that is masquerading as DLC, and everybody kind of just sitting there like nodding their heads, not getting very hyped, and then Todd just standing there like just all the color drains from his face, and he's like, fuck.
It's weird. There was a point where they were being a little transparent post Starfield with what was going on, at least in regards to Starfield, and then that went away too. I think that it just they don't know how to get the reception that they're aiming for. Hang on.
Best thing coming from Asha is no more Starfields. Oh man. There were people, you know, from the No Sodium subreddit being like, "I'm gonna boycott Tez 6 if they kill Starfield." There's no Starfield 2.
Those people are just delusional. Like, they live in a weird alternate reality. Like, they're completely disconnected from the idea that maybe they just like something that's niche.
Yeah.
Maybe what you're into is just, it's not very good. That's fine. But no, not all.
Expect them to spend another 200 million to make another game just for you.
Not all 200 people in the Starfield Facebook group boycotting Tez 6. When Tez 6 fails, you got to remember it was the Starfield boycott that did them in. What did they expect? Did they expect like the next game to be Starfield 2? Like, well, we had a good run with Fallout and Elder Scrolls, but now we're the Starfield company.
Yeah, like, how long were you going to wait for that for that sequel?
You guys can do math and have like pattern recognition skills. How long ago was Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls? You're at the back of the line, buddy. It's Elder Scrolls and then Fallout after that, and then maybe you get a sequel if you're good.
If you're good and AstroTurf really hard and convince everybody that it was actually a cult classic.
Well, yeah, what's the number? It's 15 years for people to be nostalgic. It's going to take 15 years for you to start to get a Starfield sequel. If Elder Scrolls 6 sales numbers are just average, not a massive hit, does Elder Scrolls as a franchise go on ice? Fucking Halo didn't go on ice, despite everything. I don't buy it that they would retire it completely. I think Bethesda as a company fundamentally changes, but
I also don't. I think the game, its commercial success is all but guaranteed.
I don't know. I mean, they've burned a lot of goodwill. There's a lot of videos about this stuff. I don't think my mom is gonna buy Elder Scrolls 6.
If they release it in a good time window and there's like not really much else to be competing with, they'll absolutely.
Yeah, but at the same time, you run the risk. So like, you run the risk of it being at a point in the cultural cycle that is just disfavorable, where people are looking for any reason to dislike it for being woke.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes out in 3 years, I mean, so we're at like the 2015 point in the social justice progression, where if it's 1-to-1 with the anti-woke stuff, we're at the purity testing where it's like people are struggle sessioning YouTubers to like get them to push social progressive stuff. You know, iDubbbz is learning that saying the N-word might be a bad thing from his girlfriend type shit. In that case, in the progression, we probably have about 8 more years of anti-woke stuff to deal with before that implodes.
No, don't say that.
So unless the cycle accelerates or there's some type of like major civil war that happens in that time period, you can probably expect I would say 5 to 8 years of it getting like increasingly annoying.
Oh,
It's already
I'm already
imploding.
tired of
I don't
it.
No, you don't realize. Back in 2015, there were people who thought like the social justice thing was going away.
Yeah.
Did it go away? No, it evolved into woke.
Well, yeah, so like the SJW label kind of fell off. Like
It
I would
fell
say
off
around
and just
2015,
yeah, and then
2016.
it recoalesced into something worse.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're gonna see the anti-woke thing, the performative, like they ruined my childhood with this gay stuff. You know, that's probably gonna go away. It's probably gonna recoalesce into like just openly avowed fascism or something.
Please mercy. I'm gonna just
But
go
it's still gonna be annoying.
live in the woods.
If it's not fascism, it's probably just gonna be like massive prudishness, where it's like any reference to sex is now distasteful. And I mean, you're already seeing that because like I joked about like pegging on Twitter, and there were people like, disgusting, and I'm like, yep, there we are. We're we're at that point.
Oh no.
Sex negativity is always a bad sign culturally. Especially you gotta dip it in the well and see where the culture's at.
I like to be completely ignorant to this.
Yeah.
You're my filter.
The problem is that here's the issue that you're gonna run into is there were people who were completely ignorant and they got burned the hardest the first time. Because they weren't adapting to the linguistic changes of the time period. They weren't adapting to like the culture stuff. They weren't plugged in. And so it was like they offhandedly would make jokes in like 2017 about Anita Sarkeesian thinking, hey, this is what we used to do. Like I didn't get the updated programming that it's now verboten to do that. And it's like they would get cooked. So like, yeah, it sucks. I hate that the response to, we got out of the fucking ideological tyranny of peak woke and immediately jumped into the counterpoint. Just for calling pegging disgusting, I'm switching models. There you go.
Better be
So,
the
yeah.
Bosmer boy.
We said pegging. But yeah, it's like yeah, it sucks when the whole Gamergate thing was going on. My perspective on it was like it would be nice to have a reversion to the way the internet was before 2012.
That's never gonna happen.
Well, yeah, but at least either a reversion to the way it was or an evolution into something that's better. And it was like 2023 era internet was fine. That was fine. That was probably, sadly, it was like the peak of like of it being somewhat neutral, where it was just the woke stuff fizzled out. It had that outlet, that like weird rage people had in 2020, that like the sort of thing where it's like the people who made Brooklyn Nine-Nine didn't realize they were making a cop show for 7 years and then realized when George Floyd died that, hey, maybe making cop propaganda is a bad thing. That type of bullshit, where it was like people were irrationally angry. That fizzled out. And then you had this time period where there were anti-woke people, but they weren't terribly annoying and you could ignore them. And the woke people no longer had the leverage that they used to use to like ideologically bully people. And so you could just do things and like not get harassed about it.
I think a large part of that also had to do with people were able to go outside again.
So You're saying peak woke was attributable to people who just had too much free time?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, they had a lot of free time to worry about stuff like police brutality. It turns out Patrician doesn't like Hegelian dialectics all along. Oh, when was I ever pro-dialectic? But more to the point, if we are going to do dialectics, let's actually like be productive and like push it in a Hamilton versus Jefferson sense, where the compromise is you have two extremes of, you know, tyrannical state federalism versus absolute pastoral nomadism, and it's like neither of those philosophies works on their own. The compromise was the ideal state.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like on the flip side, it's just like you either have to be a degenerate, like hyper cognizant, like self-censoring demagogue, or you have to be like a prudish Luddite. I don't even know the best way to put it with the anti-woke stuff. I guess just prudish. Like,
are they even Luddite?
Yeah, some of them are like massively pro AI. They're Luddite in the sense that they reject technology if it pushes things that they don't like.
I just see us heading into an age of just really, really poor quality stuff.
Yeah, just
companies will continue to lay people off. Like,
yeah,
like
I mean that's
the gentrification will continue.
That's the whole idea.
It's going to bleed into real life.
Well, that's okay. So that's like the tough situation that I always find myself, because I don't like the anti-woke antics, but at the same time, if it's the counterpoint to the woke stuff, then I kind of have to support it, just because like I don't want to go back to peak woke.
Yeah.
So like, but I don't like being trapped in like the cyclic team politics of it.
I'm just looking forward to our future where everything is made by cheap Chinese robots. You think you can't get good electronics and appliances now? Oh, just you wait. 10 more years from now?
Have you heard of slate trucks? Or I linked you like the
yes.
open source K truck thing.
Yeah,
slate trucks are like the same concept basically of like cheap, no frills electric vehicle. It's like 25 grand, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna be one of those things where like and you saw this under like communism. There will be an official way to do things, and nobody will like the mass of the proletariat will do it, but nobody who's smart will like buy new cars for like $200,000. They'll be like, no, there's this company that you go to and they do it on the cheap. And it's just going to be like that in every facet of life, where it's like there's a secret alternative way that you're expected to do things if you're smart. And it's just like, I hate the pretense of it.
I hope we get that with the internet. I want to just make a new internet.
That's probably the way things are going to go, but just because of the, like, they're cracking down on
the AI.
The current internet, and it's just like, they'll just do what they did the first time and make a second one.
Yeah. There really is nothing. I mean, you have like Tor and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean,
do we go to the dark side, guys?
They're just gonna layer packets over the normal traffic, and then like there'll just be a new protocol.
Yeah. I think AI is gonna be the thing that does that. Just people being so sick of it, it's just like, all right.
You would like the internet. You're excited for the internet too?
So
Yeah, the future's exciting. But yeah, I've been modeling the whole anti-woke thing the entire time on the way that it went down with the social justice warriors. And that's why I think that, like, you've probably got at least 5 or 6 years to go before it busts. And the thing is, this lesson has to be learned repeatedly. The peak woke bubble popped, but those people didn't disappear.
No, they're just waiting in the wings.
You can find them on YouTube, and I don't just mean like, oh, you click on a shitty like BreadTube video essay and like be reminded that they exist. I mean, like, I was like clicking on videos and I found some like disability awareness person who, like, the language that they used was just like, oh, you never got past the year 2023. And like, I'm just thinking, like, you're still doing that in like 2026. You're still talking that way. You're still thinking about the approach to how we engage with the government, how we like want to police people's language, and like, you know, it's not my job to educate you. Like, all of those hallmarks of it just never went away, and it's like they're just waiting for it to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I hope Asha Sharma looked up Phil Spencer's Xbox games played list and based her layoffs on that. Well, you know, Untitled Fallout Project went, Fallout 76 went, you know, all those games, they had to pull the controller out of his hand. The anti-woke inquisitors don't have people in the institutions, though, so it'll be annoying, but I don't know how annoying. I mean, in a sense, that's worse. Because it's like, it's not one-to-one a cyclical thing where it's like, okay, now the conservatives run the colleges. It was never like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, they exist in an alternative and they have a means of communicating, and, you know, they'll find ways to undermine it. I mean, like, the whole cutting funding to the Department of Education, steering people away from college and stuff. The reason that that's popular with populism is that it undermines the institutional power that they're fighting against.
Hey man, I'm all for people not going to college.
Listen, I just want to run a game store. I don't like this whole like protection racket shit that you guys want to do, where it's all, the whole system is circling the drain and people are just trying to extract money where they can to benefit themselves. So it's not about it's not about production, it's about how does our Lego company scam old people out of their collections.
It's the race to the bottom.
Someone did a deep dive on like BAM's financials, and it was like, yeah, they really were in a position where it was like they kind of needed to steal this collection to finance things because they just they run that tight of margin. And it's like, yeah, it makes sense. They're not an official reseller of Lego. They're entirely predicated on the resale market. And it's like, but do you need that? Anybody can use fucking eBay. Like, one of the reasons that you have to be innovative when it comes to like opening a retail game store is that anybody can fucking sell their games on eBay and get like the market value. Where it's like, when you go to a physical game store and you sell your collection, they're gonna fucking molest you and like go for like, yeah, you know, you could get $20 for this, but I'm gonna buy it from you for like 12. And it's like, yeah, that sucks, but you know, you gotta operate at a margin. We're doing the service of like doing the selling, doing the shipping and what have you, but it's like nobody likes to find out that like their $2,000 collection just got downgraded to $1,200 because they took, you know, that percentage off the top.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, it makes sense. They have to steal to survive. And it's like so much of stuff is that. So much of it is just all a scam. It's all a scam. Like, scamming has to be prolific because it's the only way that some people can make money. It's the only way some people can subsist.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. AI is going to make it so that we don't have to work ever again.
AI is going to scam too.
I've become the biggest doomer of them all.
Listen, I'm just excited to hire black people to fill my role. I want to go live in the woods. My name's Matt Hansen. I'm the art director on Avowed.
I'm gonna go become Amish now.
Yeah, I'm not incognizant of the Trump administration being part of the whole scamming shit off the top, because I think Donald Trump, do you remember that he lost his billionaire status towards the end of the first Trump administration?
Yeah.
I think he took that personally and said, I'm going to make $1 billion off the second one just to like, just to make sure I die a billionaire.
There's a lot of interesting psychology that you can glean from Donald Trump.
Yeah.
The man is an enigma.
I'm wondering where he's going to rank in the long term of like U.S. presidents.
Oh, God.
I saw a ranking recently, and it did have the recent presidents rated pretty low, but like the lowest rated presidents were still in like the 1820s. And I was like, there we go. Somebody knows ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
At best, he's as bad as like Hoover.
Yeah. It's like
The bar
like,
for
well,
shitty presidents is
he's
really low.
He's really corrupt, and it's like you do not know what corruption is.
You should look up what they used to do in New York City. Like,
yeah.
You think New York's bad now?
The corruption is really bad right now, though.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's not corruption in the sense of how it works in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You know, in the rest of the world, the treasurer for your county just writes himself a check for like $13 million, cashes it, buys a bunch of shit, and nobody ever like even questions it. Here, you actually have to actually figure out how to steal the money. It's not like Trump wrote himself a check for $1 billion. It's like he had to have this fucking convoluted rigmarole plan to get away with it.
Yeah.
Which at least that says something. And it's like, fuck, at least the corruption was like complicated.
And usually it's more like not explicitly illegal, it's just legally gray. Usually.
I don't think it was just Trump. The Biden intercession was also a terrible time for the country. Yeah, we haven't had a good president in my lifetime. To be clear.
What are you talking about?
This is not
George Bush. George Bush was fantastic.
George Bush #2.
Was George Bush #1 alive? Were you alive when George Bush #1 was in office?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant George Bush #2, the second term of W.
Oh.
No, I wasn't alive for George Bush Sr.
Okay.
I don't want to play in the sandbox anymore. Yeah, we used to have circuses for this. We used to have, the whole bread and circuses thing. The circuses was the video games and the movies. And we just shitified them, so now all people can think about is, like, the world being fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. It really would behoove the government to subsidize game developers.
Aren't you like 50, chat? I'm just gonna say this. I'm not even 30. They killed gaming, so we're gonna kill the institutions. Yeah, the classic. I just wanted to play video games.
There's certain things as a government you just don't want to fuck with. Don't fuck with people's bedrooms. Don't fuck with their food. And don't fuck with their video games.
Leave the video games alone. That's why I just want to. I want to run the video game store and like, you know, help with the whole escapism aspect, but not as like a complacent, controlled opposition. Oh, don't overthrow the corrupt power. Just more so like, I don't want people to be like stressed out and kill themselves.
Yeah. More of like a public outreach sort of thing.
Yeah, creating third spaces.
Let's build a community, guys. Let's support each other. Maybe some people will get together and get married, start families. That'd be pretty cool.
No, that's natalism. There was somebody who said like, Asha Sharma's got a weird pro-natalist stance, and I'm like, ooh,
what?
Baby, hit me up. Oh, she's not a career woman who's like waiting until she's like 45 to have kids, though. That could be problematic.
I mean that's fine. I just need the in with the Fed chair.
Yeah, that would be beneficial. The nice thing about being potentially married to Asha Sharma would be that like I would be able to get money to run a game company. And so it's like I'm making the Elder Scrolls sequel now.
Yeah. I'm calling up Nate Perkypaw right now.
Yeah, anti-natalism is weird. I get it from a worrying about population thing, but I think what it is it's weird to be anti-natal but pro-immigration, because it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
If your whole argument is the United States shouldn't increase in population for like X, Y, and Z reasons, it would stabilize the economy, it would, you know, stop the overgrowth of like natural spaces, it would force us to be more efficient with the way that we structure our society and all that, like, yeah, okay, that all makes sense, but then you can't have the unchecked immigration. You gotta pick a lane here. Oh, I'm glad that my videos were able to help people. That's always reassuring. I did make the videos for like people who were working their jobs, but like an unintended side effect is that like the super long videos are good for people who are like, so my husband's in intensive care and he's like in and out of he's in and out of being in stable condition, so you know, there was a good distraction for a long time type thing.
Or even just when people are like, oh yeah, I have trouble sleeping sometimes, so I'll just like put your video on to fall asleep. And it's just like, that's cool.
I intend for my videos to harm people mentally, if it's the right people. If I could make videos that caused psychic damage to the internet's most annoying people, that would be tempting. I'm more disappointed when a creator I like turned out to be very woke than if they turned out to be a Nazi. Is that a bad sign? Is that bad or a sign of the times? It should. Of the times. Yeah, it's a sign of the time, because it should be bad both ways. So it's like, what it is it's obvious with like somebody who's a fascist that, you know, they're going to be an authoritarian shithead who's going to want to like dictate how you live your life, and it's like, okay, that's obvious, that's honest, it's transparent, I understand what I'm getting with that. With the extreme woke people, you don't really know what type of mental illness they have, and you don't know what's going to be in the box when you open it.
Yeah. But it usually does end up coming back to the just fascism in a different clothing. It's all authoritarianism.
Yeah.
It's all about
people
dictating how other people should live their lives.
People being a little too eager to tell me what to do and spend my money. That's getting back to the y'all are comfortable spending other people's money thing. That's government in a nutshell.
I was talking to my neighbor earlier today, and we were talking about, like politics and stuff like that. And she's like, I don't know what you are, like Democrat, Republican, whatever. I'm like, I'm not anything anymore. My opinion is no.
I need somebody to make a really good video about the Kamala Harris 2024 campaign, because it's all like dog shit, like political people, like really annoying ones.
Well, the problem is that the story isn't finished yet, because she has to run again.
No, nobody gets. Oh, Donald Trump's the only guy who gets a twofer like that. But I'd love somebody to just go through the timeline of like how that all went down. So, what do you think Asha Sharma does next? What's the community requests that people?
Like I said, Blizzard and Activision have not been touched yet.
Well, so Mojang and Activision, she said, are answering directly to her, which tells me that they were probably making money.
Interesting.
So it's like
I guess Call of Duty.
Yeah, I think even with like Call of Duty, they had a bad year. A bad year for Call of Duty is still like decent amounts of money. So
yeah. Like I said, TES 6 at the VGAs this year. I hate that I'm making this prediction, because that means I have to fucking watch the VGAs. I was, after Summer Games Fest, I was like, I'm not watching these things anymore. I'm fucking done.
Summer Games Fest, in retrospect, is good if you think about it from the perspective that it's like teeing up the layoffs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that really was the case with like State of Decay 3 and Hellblade. Like, they were just showing those projects and stuff so that they could get buyers lined up for those studios, which they did. So far, all the studios again. This is kind of like the good ending for. This could have been so much worse.
This could have been everybody in Xbox.
Yeah.
Because it's like Microsoft and Xbox have grown so far apart that Xbox doesn't have that material need for it anymore. So like, there's the classic relationship, Google and YouTube. YouTube operated at a loss forever. So why did Google keep them around? It's because YouTube was control over a potential business market. It was like, as long as YouTube existed, nobody else could like come up with a video hosting platform to compete with it. Even if it operated at a loss, somebody could have come along and made a business model that didn't operate at a loss, but it wasn't YouTube.
Yeah.
So the value of keeping YouTube around, even if they're losing $1 billion every year, was, they still keep that market pinned down.
Yeah.
And Microsoft was the same way with Xbox. It's like, we're not huge on the gaming division, but having exposure to this market is diversification, and it gives us a lever on Windows as a gaming platform.
It gives them lever in that, and it also gives them lever on like their competition and stuff too.
Yeah, so it made sense for Microsoft back in the day to have a console.
Yeah.
Microsoft, the AI company, the shitty Windows 11 company, doesn't really make sense for them to have a game component.
I don't know if it even makes sense for them to have a hardware component at this point. The hardware almost seems antithetical to what Microsoft's going for. Microsoft wants literally everything in the cloud. The only device you're going to have is like some little fucking rinky-dink terminal that's just powerful enough to connect to their services.
I think Asha should take advantage of Sony being shitty, bring back Xbox 360 games in the current store, yell that they have physical discs, open the platform. Yeah, it's weird because they were pushing the, look, guys, we're back to the original, Xbox aesthetics. And I feel like that is the direction to go, which it matches with the general austerity plan. We got to get game size, file size under control, run on simpler hardware, run more efficiently. That whole austerity thing matches perfectly with return to physical hardware. Return to even if it's like, well, how do you get an 80 gigabyte game on a disc? And it's like, maybe they push like SD cards or something like that. Like, you know, there are avenues that they can pursue if they wanted to, but that would be a good direction. Like, just embrace, like, if Sony wants to go the whole we're going purely digital and that's the way things are going to be, then counter that with we're going fully physical, and we'll take your customers if that's what they care about.
We're not even like, oh, we're going to go fully physical. It's just like, we're going to continue to offer physical. Like, that's all they have to do. Just be like, yeah, we're not getting rid of...
Yeah, sorry. Don't get rid of Xbox's ability to sell games digitally. That would be foolish.
Yeah.
So we're not going back that far.
When you see your opponent making a mistake, let them make the mistake and do the opposite.
What's the incentive? It's good PR. And more to the point, it justifies why they exist as a publisher. Because, like, why do publishers still exist if there's not a physical component to gaming?
Yeah.
The whole thing that publishers did back in the 90s was get you physically published. And then it was like, well, we're also going to do your marketing. And it's like, well, we'll also be your legal team. And then it's like, but nowadays it's like, if they're not physically getting you published, why do you need them?
Yeah.
Oh, they're just your financiers? Well, you don't need a game publishing company to finance your operation. There's any fucking financial company could do that for you. Oh, they're your lawyers? Yeah, we have these things called law firms that can do that for you. Oh, they're your market. Guess what? There's fucking marketing firms that do that too. Everything a publisher does, you could do with a different company. So you don't need Xbox or EA or anything like that to get it done.
Yeah, you can have all of these services while retaining your creative independence and the rights to your IPs. And so that, you know, and your autonomy, so that you don't have to get laid off because, you know, 6 other studios in the division fucked up.
Y'all were speaking about PC Luddites earlier. Where should a hypothetical PC Luddite go if they want to try to learn to use a computer? Because I think the next console gen is pricing me out. Steam machines. Sorry, not Steam machines. But what a Steam machine is a mini PC. And there are mini PCs that are about the same price as consoles. They're not going to be as powerful, but they do like all the computer things that you want. And they'll run... Yeah. Like a $500 mini PC will probably like run games up until like 2019 at the max settings fine. So
no, I mean, pre-built PCs have come a long way. They used to be a joke, but especially in this fucking market, OEMs and stuff are getting first dibs on like hardware and stuff. So you're likely to get better bang for your buck right now when it comes to GPU and RAM prices if you're buying it in a pre-built.
I think
I was even seeing people buying pre-builts just for like that stuff.
Right. I think laptops are in a bad place right now.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at new laptops a few months ago, and oh boy.
I wouldn't necessarily recommend laptops unless you need the portability or whatever.
Give an elevator pitch Steelman argument for and against the Steam machine. Okay, it's pretty simple. 4. You're getting like decent quality assurance, and because like the Red Line of Death news story that made the rounds, turned out that was user error.
Yeah.
And that cleared up eventually. But really what you're getting is, if you have an issue with a Steam machine, you can send it back to Valve and they're going to help you out in a way that I think most pre-built PC companies are not.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it has that just works component. I've had personally good experiences with getting support for Valve hardware from Valve with the VR headset.
I mean, I've always had excellent support when it comes to getting refunds on games. So
yeah, so it's like you are getting like good customer service, that's what you pay the premium for. Cons, it's a lot of money for a machine that's not nearly as powerful as that price point indicates.
Yeah.
And like,
and you have to use Linux on it, and
that's
the hardware on it's going to be kind of proprietary and stuff. Like if you get a pre-built, it's all standard modules and stuff, so you can like take stuff out of it, you can put stuff into it and everything. So that's why I would lean towards the pre-built. Or you can just, learn how to assemble it yourself. It really isn't that difficult. I always say if you can assemble a Lego set, you can assemble a PC these days.
Yeah.
Just don't do something crazy like custom water cooling loops and shit, and you'll be fine.
Or if you do, there's a billion PC
you could also
companies.
There's like, especially around here, we have like so many different PC shops where it's like I could just bring them the hardware and stuff and be like, can you assemble this for me? And they'll like assemble it for like, probably like $200 or something like that. So that's also another avenue. I think Best Buy offers that service. Best Buy's been trying to get into the PC market.
Yeah, but I'm not confident
the one near my
Best
house.
Buy.
The ones by me have been actually really good.
They're a weird thing where they offer stuff that's more expensive than what you can get online and is lower quality. So like they have like HDMI to AV converters, and theirs are like, I don't know, $20-$30, and you can get them online for like 10 to 15. The ones online work better. And it's like I've had that experience across a few different like types of product that they offer. And then on the flip side, like the best thing I bought was that TV, that LG 05, but like, I could have bought that from LG, so
yeah.
Like
I'll usually go to them if they're having like a really good sale.
Yeah, this is like that was the good part of it, was that the TV was like $600 and not $1,500.
Yeah, like my phone that I got was like fucking, I think it was like $350 off compared to what everybody else was. It was like the lowest price the phone had ever been at. So it's like, oh yeah, okay. And they were offering like an insane trade-in value on my phone, my old phone. So I was like, okay, that's being competitive. My Sony camera, I got that when I bought that. That thing was like fucking like, I think its MSRP was like almost $4,000.
Yeah, it was insanely expensive at the time.
Yeah. I got it with like with the lens and stuff too. But, after I bought it there, it was like, I think it was like $600 off or something like that. That's why I ended up getting it. So, like anything else, you got to do your research and stuff. But Best Buy used to be a fucking like absolute joke, where it was just like you could not go there and get like anything. They're at least an option now. I'll go there and not always leave empty-handed. But I also have Micro Center, so it's like so that's where I go when I need anything.
I'm gonna wind things down here. We've been going for about 3 hours. We typically fill this time slot every Friday over on the second channel. That's Pleb TV. We play like 6th and 7th generation games over there for a couple hours and just talk about like what's been going on that week.
Yeah, we just figured this week we needed to do this main channel.
It's Bethesda and Obsidian related. So we got to talk about it. It's crazy, but it's not too crazy. They're treating it like it's an existential thing. They're freaking out about it because they've never really experienced this before, or at least in a while. Any updates on the Fallout video? It's still coming, but it's slower than I like, but that's not because of like stuff now, it's because of stuff that happened like 4 months ago.
This man is going around looking at retail spaces.
On my walks. Yeah, I just go like downtown and look at all the
in the middle of the night. You're always sending me pictures like
that's when the fewest number of people are there, but it's not like 2 a.m. hours where it's just the crackheads. So like you have a bit of social safety, but you're also not like running into drunk people constantly.
Moral of the story is you're at that point of the project where you're dreaming of doing anything else.
All right, well, we'll see you later, chat.
Bye.
Master Chief did not used to host weddings.